to Estancia San Carlos. I think that's the map. Anyway, so the sugarcane is now ready to harvest, and quite nicely. I think I said before, the sugarcane price is also at its peak, pretty much. So plan is ideally to sell off of the field. One of the sell points is I think just opposite the field. So I think warehouse 2 is one of the ones that's pretty close by, that we can sell to. So ideally sell straight off the field. I'm going to do something slightly different because I want to know the yield, because we're doing some testing. So we are leasing the Yakto Hoover 500, costing us 17,000, basically 18,000 pounds or dollars per, well, to loan. And then the hourly rate is pretty high as well. I don't actually see what it was, but throughout the video you will see that it has a pretty big impact. And then we're going to lease ourselves a Lizard 1313. I'm just doing a bit of browsing through to see what I want to get basically in this mod, and what the options are. So I thought this was quite a nice, appropriate truck. So now just looking at the attachers that go with it. Basically, I want something quite big because sugarcane yields are quite high. So some interesting options I'm looking through, because I thought when I looked at the mod, there was one that had a really high capacity. I clearly misread it, because they're all fairly, you know, they're sensible, realistic capacities. But with testing like this, there is a limit to, obviously I'm using a realistic harvester. We're going to do some of the carting realistically, but there comes a limit where I need to implement some cheatiness purely because I need to understand how much crop we got off the field. So I'm just browsing through at the moment of the options that I've got for trucks that are installed. And actually the hook lift might be a good option. You know, it's got a 25,000 litre capacity, and we can just lease more containers. So what I'm going to do, or what I end up doing on here, is that I lease the truck. I lease a couple of standard containers, and you'll see that very quickly we fill those up very, very quickly. So I do an edited version that will hold 500,000 litres, and I'm purely doing that because I want to know how much crop we get off of the field. If I wasn't interested in testing it, I would have probably just used 1 or 2 and sold straight away. But that would have made working out the yield really hard, and then kind of the potential return. So one of the things I want to have a look at, and I'm going to look at it in the next video, is with the amount of crop that we've got and productions and things, how we can maximize our profitability, given that we're kind of broke. One of the things I might consider, which has just occurred to me, is whether clearly we can't afford a production at the moment, but whether we can. Not sure what I'm checking here. I just was going to lease another one. I thought at least I need to borrow some money to be able to. Oh no, I've got 2 leased. Ignore me. Whether actually it's better to borrow the money for a few months and pay the interest, or whether I should. God, I'm thinking really slowly today. Whether I should borrow the money and pay the interest, or sell some crop and put that through the production. That's what I'm trying to decide on, whether I want to do that or not. Wow, it took me a while to get there, didn't it? And I think I actually then just changed my mind on leasing a 3rd one. So, yeah. Anywho, into the Yakto. He sounds good. Obviously, we've done a little bit with this brand recently. Used the big planter over on Greenlands, and I'm going to run this on Courseplay. Someone did recommend not running headlands, but that just feels so wrong to me that I am going to run headlands just because that's what feels right. when I did the one sugarcane harvest I've done in FS22, I did with the pull behind, and I did it as all headlands basically, because that was the easiest way to use a pull behind one, because they're offset to the side. They're quite cheap, so that's why I did it. But yeah, we're going to use Courseplay to run the harvester. I have a few attempts at using Courseplay to, not Courseplay, well, I do attempt to use Courseplay and auto drive to cart. It does not work well. I did do a tutorial video actually on automating sugarcane, and I don't remember if I ever got auto drive to unload a harvester. I think I might have, because I was using the case one, I might have just ended up hooking up trailers to it. This one doesn't have a trailer hookup, but it does have a wider working width, so hopefully we'll get around the field a bit quicker. If you can look in the bottom right hand corner though, you'll see that harvest is going to take 2 hours 19 minutes according to Courseplay. It did take me well over 2 hours to harvest this field. I was not expecting that when I started recording this. It's why there's been a bit of a gap in these videos, because this just took quite a long time to do. About 2.5 hours, funnily enough. Actually, it took longer than that, because, it has to turn around at the ends. I had to cart and swap containers and stuff, so it took a bit longer than that, and the lease costs really did bite with the harvester, particularly, not so much the truck. I was just looking in here to see in the stats. I didn't think it did, and it doesn't, whether it told us the amount harvested, because I'm not running precision farming. I don't get that information off there. You can see we are 50% full already, and we've not even done one half of alongside of a headland. So because I needed to, well, I didn't need to, I wanted to understand the yield off of this field. I said I did an edit so that I do a couple properly, just to get a feel for things. And if I didn't need to know how much we got, I would be taking this and selling it or putting it in a production. But I do want, well, we can't afford the production, so, but I do want to know how much we got in total. So as I said, I edited the box. I did another version of the box that will hold 500,000 litres, thinking that was probably plenty. I'd guessed that I'd get about 600 odd thousand litres off this field. I was quite wrong by a reasonable distance, which is good. It is good. I said I'm going to do all of the harvest today, and at the end we'll see how much we got. I'm going to do another video doing the selling and putting in production and working out kind of total profitability. So that's the first box full. So we'll do that in the next video, and we'll start prepping the crop for harvest next year, because this is a crop that regrows, I believe. I'm just having a moment, because one of the things that you'll see later on is that, and while I'm talking, I'm loading up the map data. You'll see that sugarcane leaves behind and needs ploughing state when it's harvested, which is a bit weird, considering that yes, it does regrow. So yeah, that's going to be one, because that's going to hit our yield. And so there'll be, I mean, in theory, the yield should be the same. So we can use this to work out if you should plough and replant and take the time and cost penalty, more so the cost penalty, because we know what planting cost, versus taking the yield hit from not ploughing. And that definitely makes it worth doing a second year on here, just to see what that is. Obviously we can in theory calculate it, but sometimes it's more fun to play and work it out. I mean, in theory we could work out from how many sugarcane plants, I guess, that we put in the ground, how much sugarcane we will get with max yield bonus, and therefore how profitable it will be. that's sort of what I did on my most profitable crop video, although I ignored yield bonuses because they are consistent across all crops. And I'd sort of used that to work out roughly how much I thought we'd get. And I was wrong because I'd forgotten about, the fertilization bonus is huge. Plus all the other bonuses you can stack up. So yeah, we do pretty well off of here. In a moment, I'm just going to jump into a bunch of nice, pretty cinematic shots as we finish this harvest up. It is not a 2.5 hour video, as you will have seen, because no one would watch that, and my computer wouldn't like recording for 2.5 hours solid, probably. I didn't even play for 2.5 hours solid to have recorded for that. This was done in several sessions. Probably about 4, I think, because I did some of it while I was traveling earlier this week, and that kind of involved being paused and going off and doing other stuff, and then finish up recording it when I got home. And yeah, I kind of wish I'd got stuck into this over the weekend, but the migraine I had on Sunday wiped that out, because this is probably what I would have done on Sunday. If I'd realised, I might have got stuck into it, because it would have been quite a nice activity to switch off. It would have been even nicer if I could have got auto drive to behave, but it just would not come up and unload properly. I don't know if it's because the auger is so dynamic, but so we've hit an hour on the sugarcane harvester, and we were broke, so I've had to borrow $5,000 or pounds. We're in pounds today. I forgot to change all the units to be able to continue the worker running, and I had to do this twice, because if you're in negative, if you don't have any money, you can't hire a worker in FS22, so you've got to be able to pay the wages. So yeah, I ended up having to borrow, in total, on top of what I had to borrow to lease everything, I had to borrow another 10 grand just in extra leasing costs. And we'll go into all the finances next time of how much we spent on leasing kit through the year versus income and all that kind of stuff, just so we can really look at how profitable it was to do the first year harvest. And then we will plow into, not literally, the second year, and getting the field fertilized. We might have to deal with weeds, I'm not sure. And second harvest, we're probably going to use one of the modded forage harvesters just to speed it up a bit. So again, you can see we've just gone over the hour on the harvester and negative money, so we need to borrow more. The first time it happened, it kind of shocked me because I wasn't paying attention, but the second time I was ready. So, and what I actually end up doing is, I know it wouldn't have it, but I set GPS on the truck to have a 3 meter working width, the same as I set course play to, and it meant I could just, this was a long job, I could just bung GPS on once I'd turned at the headland, and between GPS and cruise control, it made this a pretty easy, chilled out job to get done. So, which was nice, apart from me turning GPS off and then crashing into the harvester. At this point, I'm going to say thank you to patrons and YouTube channel members. Appreciate you guys all supporting the channel. You are pretty darn awesome. If you're interested in any of those, there are links below. So I thought we were on our last run down the field, but sugarcane is a weird, magical crop, and I think because the visual is quite different. Would you believe there's another row we need to harvest? I don't think it yields particularly much, and I was like, yeah, I'm done. Awesome, cool. We can stop now. No. The harvester is turning around for another run down the field. Yeah, so I jumped in it ready to return it, but no, we need to spin ourselves around and get cracking. So at this point, we have filled 2 of the cheaty boxes So we are over 1,000,000 litres at this point, which is way more than I thought. I thought we'd get 600 or 1,000. So, you know, if we just sold it, we'd look at a couple $100,000. Now, I'm not sure what all the costs were to get us there. The field was more than that, but the field is an asset that we can sell. So I'm not too interested in that. It's more about the, the cost of planting, leasing all the kit, because we've leased everything to do this, all the consumables, and we'll dive into that next time and have a look at, the animation really amuses me. How much did we spend? How much can we make? The extra money you can make by putting it through a production. I'm going to work out how long that's going to take, because it could be that we need to spend a year processing the sugar because it's giants, and well, it's not giants, so I'm going to use a modded one. There's a modded one that's not massively cheaty, which we'll have a look at next time. Now, I don't know how much storage space it has. We might have to hang on to the truck to store the sugarcane. But we can now return the harvester, which is cool. 2.3 hours, so yeah, quite expensive. Quite expensive. I'm just going to line up the boxes, and there we go. So 1,079,439 litres. So not far off 1.1 million litres of sugarcane off of that field. It's not bad, is it? It says it's worth a good, I think, 250,000. I've not done the maths. I'll do the maths next time. So if you've enjoyed this, click the like button. Comments, questions, suggestions below, and I will see you next time for the analysis and starting year 2.